Howdy chaps, and welcome back. Yeah, so first off, the XY stuff has been, I have been stunned by the results and responses I've had on that thing. I probably won't talk about it much more because I haven't got it back, and I need to piece it back together enough. And it does look like I'll probably sell it, because that seems to be the general consensus. Everybody seems to think that that is the better option. Out of like 70 comments, only a couple of them were give it away, so it seems that more people want it sold and put money into the business and put money into the channel and stuff. And believe it or not, I actually took some of my own hard-earned cash and I actually upgraded my camera from my mobile phone, which is a Galaxy S9, it's what I've been using forever, to an actual videoing camera. Now I did buy, it took 2 goes, but I think I've got the right one now. I went in looking for a GoPro S9, or GoPro Hero 9, but they don't have very good audio, and as far as YouTube is concerned, you need a clear picture, sound, people need to be able to hear you, and it's got to focus, it's got to be able to see you. So believe it or not, a GoPro isn't really good for vlogging, which technically this is a type of vlogging, which is a video blog. You almost follow along and keep up to date with everything that's going on. So I went into JB looking for a Hero 9, but then without the ability to have sound, we sort of ended up in a digital SLR, and yeah, that almost worked. And then it worked out last night when I was playing with it for probably 5 hours that it couldn't video to save its life. It just, no matter what I tried, it couldn't do it. So I took it back. It was a $700 camera, so I took it back and ended up with a nearly $1,000 camera, but this time it's an actual camcorder or a video recorder. So I'll show you that in a second, and yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so I've just flipped the camera now. Now, I spent some money. You will notice that I have a decent quality camera stand, a tripod you might call it. It seems to be, I think it was like $130 odd. It wasn't too bad. And here's the little piece de resistance. It's a little, I believe its sale price is around $950, but when I took my $700 camera back, it obviously took the sting out of it. So I got a microphone, and it made sure it had a sock on it. The sock gets rid of wind noise, and that's the microphone that's normally with them. So I wanted a more directional camera mic, so it can actually pick up what I'm saying, because I want to be in front of the camera more and do better footage. I want better quality. I just want to make things better and more enjoyable, so people can see what I'm up to. The phone has actually been very good for a while, but I think I just want to step it up. And you can't put a mic into the phone easily. Well, I couldn't. I'm not a technological buff. And yeah, I just wanted to upgrade and make things better and more enjoyable for you guys. So I think that guy was $100, that was $950, and then this was $150. So I've spent some money finally on decent camera equipment, which I believe this is going to be good. So I can flip this around and actually make sure I'm in focus, because the other camera just, it couldn't focus. No matter what I tried to it just couldn't do it. This mobile phone, the S9, was a 10 times better camera than the digital SLR. I couldn't quite fathom that being the fact. So this is what we're going to be operating with, and hopefully I'm charging it up and we can do some videoing today with it. But today's task is the Landau bonnet. Now this has been sitting for a couple of days, got a bit of rubbish on it, but we're going to, I think we're not going to touch the top side at the moment. I think we're going to actually paint the underside blue, so that it can sit over the weekend, and when I can turn it back up the other way, I can rub the top down and prime it again. So that's today's task. We're going to have some entertaining stuff. we're going to also take the transmission, the C4. Notice that the engines are now tucked under a bench. So this is my supposedly good C4 that came off my $500 engine and trans. So I'm taking this to a transmission specialist in a minute, and I'm going to get it completely sussed and serviced and looked at, and clean bill of health to make sure it's, when it goes into the XB, it doesn't have to come back out of the XB. Also, my $68 single rail that I picked up off eBay. It was quite funny. The only photo was of like that bit of the extension housing. I said, what kind of a, who sells things on eBay with like one photo of just the extension housing number? I couldn't quite believe it, but for 68 bucks I was like, oh, it might be worth a gamble, and it turned out it paid out. It's pretty clean inside. I will also get this checked out, because the car, I do eventually want it to be manual. Now this is actually a 6-cylinder Falcon XF gearbox, but I do know for a fact that they are visually identical to a V8 one. They've got all the same, everything's the same on them, just, you know, they've got apparently weaker internals, but I think a V8 single rail you could blow up with the right amount of power in front of it. So I'm taking a gamble on this. They're so hard to get now, it's just insane. I never thought single rails were going to be such a desirable gearbox. Maybe the input shaft is smaller, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm sure it is the same. But yeah, that's the single rail I picked up for 68 bucks. I think it was worth every penny. That C4 is going to go to a transmission place and be serviced. That's the dead FMX out of my brother's Landau. That's actually that's the 302. That's dead effectively. That needs to be rebuilt. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I really was more interested in the transmission. That's the dual cutout exhaust panel that'll go on the XB eventually. And very, very soon we're going to be attempting to remove the beaver panel off the back of this car in one piece as much as possible. And then we're going to, once we paint stripped it some more, we're going to sandblast the whole back section of the car. And I really wanted to do that with that section off the car. So enough ramblings. The next thing you'll see is me working on the Landau bonnet. But there we go, that's a bit of an update of what's happened in the last few days. Alrighty chaps, we've gotten back. I'm now using the new camera that is really expensive. I'm hoping the quality is going to be significantly better. So we just dropped off the automatic transmission to Southern Automatic. So I'll see if I can find it. I took a photo of their building sign, whatever it was. Can I get this on camera? Is it going to focus? Possibly, yeah. Took it to them. They seem to be pretty reasonable. Didn't seem to have an issue with doing a C4. He actually, I met the chap a while back because he actually bought the C4 that was out of the XB when it was a 6-cylinder. So yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good. He's going to rebuild it or give it a tidy up, and we're going to get that happening. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to switch to doing some time lapsing, and we're going to turn this bonnet over. And I'm going to prep the underside, and then we're going to paint the bonnet with Blue Lightning. I'll get this stuff off here and clean my bench a little bit. This is what we're using. I know people might go, ooh, ProTech, yuck. But, I don't know, it is what it is. But it is going to get some DNA clear, which is very, very good. So we're going to turn it over, I'm going to scotch it back. I'll probably throw a wet on wet, or wet on wet it. So I'll put a single coat of 2K primer on it just to seal it up a bit. And then I will, when that flashes off, I'll then immediately put the blue on and then the clear. So that should hopefully make for a reasonable entertaining video for today. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. I'm going to switch to the other camera now. So bear in mind this new camera might take a bit to getting used to, so it's going to be a bit hit and miss with the videos until I get used to it. I'm actually playing with the camera again, so this time I unplugged the mic and see what this video is like with the 5.1 surround in the actual camera. So yeah, anyway, hope the audio isn't terrible. So what I've done now is I've been super thorough. Like when I primed this thing, because obviously I bare metaled it with some paint stripper with that yellow stuff. It had surface rust all along the leading edge, so I had to sandblast it because it's the only way to get it out. And I blew it off, vacuumed it up, tried to get as much sand out as possible, but somehow it just doesn't go away. It's always there. It will not leave the bonnet, and when I primed it, it just got stuck in it. So you might have seen me, I was using my foam pads, which are these guys, which they're starting to get a bit sad, but they're very awesome. That one's a bit healthier. You can read, sort of read, it says fine, just like me. So they're really good for knick-knacky areas. So if you were going to do the door jamb of a car and you just wanted to scotch it down, I'd recommend one of those, especially if you were just going to scotch it down for a quick coat of primer and then repaint. Then that's, in my opinion, it seems to work really well for a nice quick job. So I was trying to get this okay, because normally I cheat a little bit because the underside of bonnets are a bit average. So I'd Gravitex them normally, and usually that sticks, gets all the crap stuck in it, and you don't even see it. But this time I really want the underside of this bonnet to be really nice and glossy. So it's going to have crap in it. It's just luck of the draw. It's also, the shed is not super clean anymore. So, and I'm going to try, you might have seen me trying to get as much of it out as possible with blowing air in it and everything. So, just try and get it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up some 2K primer. Same stuff that's on the top side, but I'm only going to do, fit through that gap, I'm only going to do a little bit. This stuff is awesome. So I'm going to mix up a little, got my gun soaking. Always clean your gun before use, no matter what you're doing. And always keep thinners like gun wash in them. So when you finish painting, you leave gun wash in it. You cycle it out till it's no longer clunky, and then you leave about that much in it. So it keeps everything in the end of the gun nice and wet. So that when it comes time to cleaning it prior to use, it's always easy to clean. And I always like to soak them a little bit prior to cleaning them. So the next thing is give it a coat of this, and while that flashes off, which goes from that wet look to the sort of satin dry look, semi-dry look, when it flashes off, we'll then put on the colour. So we'll mix this up, put this on in a paint pot, chuck it on. While it's flashing off, I'll clean the gun and get the blue mixed up, and then we'll throw that on, and it should look amazing. Well, I can only do as good as I can hope. I am only a panel beater. I'm a qualified, legit, done all the trade, been all the trade school, done all the years, panel beater. I'm not a painter. Painter, all of my learning about paint has been self-taught, and obviously when you're in the crash game, you spend 4 years of your life through crash shops, well actually more than that, my apprenticeship and then some. You pick up how it's done and what people use and talk to the right people, so you do learn it eventually. So all of my painting knowledge is experience. But when I did my pre-voc course, I did actually do the first apprenticeship, the first year of painting apprenticeships, which is a good way to get into learning. So I'm going to cut you here, and then I will probably throw the time lapse on for the priming and painting process.
we just dragged the bonnet outside to get a good glimpse at the blue Lightning for the first time. There is garbage in it. It's just luck of the draw. Half of the crap is from the ceiling and half of the crap blew out from underneath the bonnet skin. But considering it's the underneath of a bonnet, I don't think it'll be too bad. It doesn't look offensive, and basically the painting methods are the same no matter what you're doing. You use, you know, base coat and clear. This is 2-pack, so it's going to stay pretty much like this forever. This is DNA clear. It's a bit flash. It's hard to get the sparkle on camera, but it is a beautiful blue. My brother kept asking me, oh, what's the blue gonna look like? I kept thinking, why don't you just go look at your truck? Same colour. Ooh. Yeah, there's garbage in it, but joys of painting in there. Can't win everything, but I think that'll do nicely for the underside of a bonnet, and the car isn't going to be a showstopper, so I think I'll wrap this video up here, and hopefully I can edit this into a reasonable thing for you guys to watch.